I mean, because some of the issues that have been raised against the Prime Minister are more ethical and more legal. And I think it's better to have those questions sort of pursued and perhaps adjudicated by proper bodies rather than, you know, a simplistic statement that I'm returning power to the people. You know, it sounds nice and it sounds democratic, but I think you have to look at the whole process as how we come to this particular point.
Thank you, Anand. I'd like to veer this. I'd like to ask you now about the South. Mm-hmm. You are now the chairman of the National Reconciliation Commission. Is it committee or commission?
Commission.
Commission. What exactly is the mandate of the commission with regards to problems in southern Thailand?
Well, it originates nearly a year ago when more and more people believe that the policies adopted by the Prime Minister and his government have been counterproductive, you know, to put it mildly. And they were concerned that if things were allowed to continue in that direction, the situation in the three southernmost provinces could get worse and worse, which could lead to eventual breakdown. And so some academics had a meeting with the Prime Minister and proposed that perhaps the government, you know, should seek the opinions and views of some other groups who are not political and who are more neutral. And then they came and approached me. The Prime Minister was, you know, found the idea acceptable, and so they approached me, and I said, you know, it's not a question whether I would want to be in that commission or not. I think it depends entirely on the Prime Minister, because it's going to be a government-appointed committee. At that time, the academics were not, they had not thought the problem through. So I said, well, in that case, I have to meet with the Prime Minister on a person-to-person basis. So I talked to him. So I said, you know, I'm listening. If you want me to serve on that commission as a chairman, but there are quite a few things that we have to at least to talk things over and see whether our lines are not perhaps not exactly similar, but they are not contradictory. And after 2 meetings I had with him, I came to the conclusion that one, the Prime Minister was at that particular time quite sincere in appointing a commission. So I laid down my condition. I said, well, if you wanted me to be on that commission as chair, I would need to have full authority in appointing people without the government's interference. Secondly, we would help to draft the mandate. And thirdly, that this commission would be an independent commission, and yes, we are appointed by you, by the government, but when we present our report, we would simultaneously release it to the public, because we believe that we are also accountable to the public. And he agreed to all these conditions. So the first, you know, I was given a free hand in a way. As you can see, many of my commission members are now in the opposing camp of the Prime Minister, but I distinguish the two roles that they have. And I think in the first 3 to 4 months, the Prime Minister was quite, at least honest to himself and honest with me. But politics, later on, I think it was more and more difficult for us to communicate, because perhaps partly because his mind is not on that particular southern problem. And while I was able to devote my time exclusively to the south, and I think in the past 5 months or so, the policies of the government have been sort of veering back in a way. This mandate that we have is a mandate to help solve the long-term problems, the root problems. So we don't deal with the day-to-day events, and you can still see that there's some shooting, some killing, some arson, some this or that. But I think the blessing that we had was that since the the functioning of the commission, there had been no recurrence of incidents like Krese or Takbai, and that's an improvement. Secondly, I think that the people in the field, be it the military or the police, they understand much better now the direction and the mechanics of reconciliation process. And of course, the main problems, I'm not talking about the root problems, but the major problems in the area is that there is a total lack of trust of the government. There is a total lack of confidence in the authorities, and they feel that they do not have access to proper judicial process, or even if they had access to judicial process, that judicial process was not so equitable in a way. But even that, and which is the truth, there are some people on both sides, both the government side and both the wrongdoer side, that they reject the judicial process. So
it's a sense of injustice that they feel. This is
it's a major problem. Yes, it's a major problem. Of course, there are several other problems, major issues, be they historical, be they cultural, be they. Our report, which will be completed by the end of March, would cover all these areas, be it recognition and respect of the diversity of our culture, particularly. We have to stress more on the multi-ethnic and multicultural society. And secondly, we need to apply ourselves in the education field, because not only for the education per se, but I think as a means for the people to earn their livelihoods. We have to address the questions of the governing process within the area, focusing on greater participation in the decision-making process of matters which pertain to their daily lives. We have to look at the economic development model, which has to be in line with the people's sort of beliefs and ways of living, because as you all know, Islam, unlike some other religions, it dictates in a way the way of life of the adherents to their particular faith.
The Muslims in Thailand are a minority. So basically what you're saying is this is how the government is perceiving the problem of how to deal with a minority. They will have, from your answer just now, they will have a lot more self-freedom?
No. I'm talking about greater participation.
Greater participation.
Yeah. No, I think that, you see, this is a country of 62 million people. Out of 62 million people, we have about 4 to 5 million Muslims. So it is, quote unquote, a Buddhist country, but of course, traditionally, historically, there have been sort of a fairly cohesive society, and there has never been any trouble. The anomaly is that in the south, the 3 southernmost provinces, they're not the minority group, they're the majority group.
Right.
So out of about 1.8 to 1.9 million people in the south, in the 3 southernmost provinces, the Muslims constitute about 1.5, and the Buddhists would constitute 3 to 400,000. So they are a majority in the 3 southernmost provinces, and yet they're the minority within the country. And they're the minority, and they're majority of the entire Southeast Asian region. So, you have so many anomalous situations. Now, so if you have 4 to 5 million Muslims in the whole of Thailand, 1.5 is down south, there's still about over 3 million Muslims outside the 3 southern provinces. These 3 million Muslims never had any problems. Never, totally. The 3 southernmost provinces, the difference is that the 3 southernmost provinces, they're Muslims of Malay ethnicity. Right. And they've been there for such a long time.